Based on the 2 quarters that were collected, we're up about 30% over the franchise method. This formula was written into law. It's not scheduled at present to be revisited. Anything over the base amount, which is what we used to realize under the franchise method, is being distributed to everybody based on an ad valorem basis. So again, your ad valorem levy really makes a difference in not only ad valorem taxes, but in sales tax and now the utility sales tax. So what we set our rate at could affect this distribution, but we do feel that the additional $722,000 will be sustainable in fiscal year 16 and should stay stable going forward. And to address what you had mentioned, that's kind of where we've been at when we developed the budget. We want to make sure that we're not including things that down the road we would no longer be able to afford or sustain.
Okay.
The municipal service district, or downtown Monroe, the current value for downtown Monroe is about $26 million. The county has estimated the new value at $23.7 million. This is a reduction of $2.3 million or 9.7%. If we would like to generate the current tax revenue that we currently are receiving, $45,000, we would need to adjust to a revenue neutral tax rate of 21.9 cents. If we do not adopt a revenue neutral rate, we'd lose about $4,000. The general fund balance, staff is planning to use some unassigned fund balance to fund a lot of the one-time purchases and the one-time improvements that were requested in the budget. This chart kind of walks you through where we're at and where we anticipate being with the new budget. As of March 31st, we're showing for formal assignments, we've got money for matching grants at the airport of about $1.2 million. The airport subsidy, which we've been drawing down each year for 5 years, is at $750,000, and street resurfacing the same. We've been drawing down over a 5-year plan. We've got $900,000 left in it. The unassigned fund balance is currently at $5.3 million. By the end of this fiscal year, we do plan to add to that $5.3 million. We're looking at favorable collections in the sales tax for this year of $300,000 and that electric sales tax of $900,000. And we've had some savings from personnel vacancies across the city of about $450,000. Council's plan to renovate the Winchester pool, so that will come out of that current balance, leaving us with $6.9 million. In the 2016 budget, we'll draw down another year of our subsidies, which will leave our formal assigned fund balance at $2.3 million. And we've proposed a use of about $2.3 million for those one-time expenses, which would leave us at $4.4 million in this unassigned fund balance. What's included in the budget? We have several positions. Within the general fund, we've got 2 full-time positions, 2 part-time positions, and we're proposing to reclassify a couple of them. In the enterprise funds, we've included 4 full-time and 1 part-time. Workers' compensation funding increase. This $350,000, $150,000 of that will be included going forward. We're just having increased funding levels due to the higher expenses for a lot of the claims. The other $200,000 is going to be a one-time to restore that fund balance. We used quite a bit of it this year to pay off a couple of large claimants. The next item is implementation of a pay plan. We've included dollars to conduct a pay plan study. This amount that is included here is for all funds and is to implement phase 1 of 2 of that pay plan study as it would be recommended. We're also recommending reinstatement of the merit program. It would be from 0 to 3%, with the average increase being around 1.5%. And we've included the cost of living pay increase at 3% that council previously had voted on. It's for all employees except department heads. And I've listed that at $820,000.
I have a question. When you had split the assistant city manager, finance director into 2 positions, and then Parks and Rec, exactly what does that mean?
What that
Sure
means, what that means is, as you probably realize, the assistant city manager positions are dual-hatted. So what I'm proposing is to eliminate that dual-hatted nature and reclassify their assistant department heads. Lisa's position is an assistant finance director position, reclassifying that to a full department head position, and the assistant recreation department head, reclassifying that to a full department head.
And how many assistant city managers does that make? Just
No
one?
change. 2.
So you're going to have 2 full-time assistant city managers?
Yes,
And that's all they're not going to be department heads, they're just going to be assistant city managers?
Correct.
So would Ryan still be over downtown, or would he be moved from downtown?
They would retain their responsibilities. They would, instead of being
Well, then
dual-hatted.
he wouldn't be a total assistant city manager, he would be still over downtown. Because Brian's an assistant manager.
Yes.
So that's, and, you know, the finance director was also an assistant city manager. So you're talking about taking that away. So what will that assistant city manager do?
They would oversee the same functions that they do today. They would not be dual-hatted as a department head. They would be a full assistant city manager.
So
You're still
you
not
only
making
have-
it.
I understand that. You only have
I don't
one
understand what you mean.
assistant city manager, now that's Brian, right?
That's Brian.
One position is filled, one is vacant.
And I don't think you only have 2.
So we're going
Yeah.
to split it,
Make
is
one
what they're talking
decision.
about. They're splitting it back to where it used to have
But what
2
he
of
says-
them, and that's all they do.
Yeah, but he's saying Brian will not be over downtown anymore.
Yeah.
So,
No, I didn't say it wouldn't be. I said
well,
it-
you just
would-
said he would be assistant city manager.
And
they would not
retain the
be-
same functions that he currently has.
Well, the
But he
other
would not
assistant
be-
manager would not attain the same functions because they were finance director also. So the duties would change for that position.
The assistant city manager that had finance would also overlook water resources, energy, and finance. That would not change. You would no longer be dual-hatted as a department head. In Brian's situation, Brian would continue overseeing all the functions that he has.
Well, he's still dual-hatted.
No, he would not be a department head.
So the downtown director is not a department head.
He would not be a department, I don't know how else I can say it. He would not be a department, he would be an assistant city manager, responsible for downtown development, recreation, planning.
In other words, Brian's job would not change, basically, is that what you're saying?
His job would not change, he would no longer be a department head and an assistant city manager.
So we're just going to do away with the department head for the downtown. That's probably the best way to look at it.
Yeah, that's what I was
Just
trying to
have
get him
department
to
head
understand
downtown.
is, you know, you're doing away with the department head. The downtown director has always been a department head. So that's the reason I was questioning you that.
Okay, now that takes care of one assistant city manager. Now, before we add on the second one, I don't know where I understand what that job is curtailed, the whole span of it. The next assistant city manager is gonna be also the finance director, is that correct?
No.
No, he would no longer be the finance director.
Okay, all right. We'll have a finance director, and then we'll have an assistant city manager.
Correct.
Okay, before we had a finance director and a city manager combined.
Well, I don't know what you had before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the second city manager, or however you want to say it, was the finance director as well as assistant manager. So coming in with the new, if I understand it right, the finance director will be finance director, and you will have another
Assistant city manager.
assistant city manager.
That's getting top heavy.
So actually
Yeah.
picking up one person.
Yeah,
Well,
No.
yes.
Well,
Because
you've
it
got a
was
finance
dual
director and
jobs.
another assistant
No, we
city
have an
manager.
assistant city manager, we have two assistant city managers. Both of them are dual-hatted as a department head. Both of them have assistant department heads in the respective departments that they're dual-hatted in. Greg's position, when he was here, was assistant city manager, finance director. Lisa was or is the assistant finance director. What I'm proposing is to reclassify the assistant finance director to a full department head.
Right,
So no additional positions reclassification.
okay, that's one.
But it's not there's not an additional position.
No, but I mean, that remains a position.
And-
But now you still have that slash assistant manager you had. Am I missing something here, folks? Yeah, well, if you had assistant manager and a finance director, and that's gone, now you make the finance director only a finance
And assistant
director.
manager,
Assistant manager is still out here.
Yes.
right.
So that's got to be an additional.
But we're also
I
not.
was gonna say, what am I missing?
We're not gonna backfill the assistant.
I don't know how to say any clearer. I mean, it's,
I know, I understand.
splitting, we've got two assistant city managers, both of them are dual-hatted, both of them have an assistants in the respective departments that they're dual-hatted in.
Right,
So that's four people, okay? The assistant city manager, it's assistant city manager for finance, I'm saying split that. Still an assistant city manager position. We have an assistant finance director, making that a full finance director, department head.
Okay,
So
would
it's still
you-
two positions, was yesterday, I'm proposing it still be. Their, as Councilwoman said, their responsibilities would shift.
Okay.
And the assistant city manager for recreation
you got that down.
would
Well, it's
would
the same
split.
thing.
The assistant city manager for recreation has an assistant
Okay,
department head, assistant recreation director in recreation. That would be reclassified, I'm proposing, to a full department head.
okay. Well, you're
So
still
full
missing the
position.
point though. Brian is the downtown director and an assistant manager. He started off as a downtown director, okay? Greg started off as a finance director. Well, they added additional duties, so they both became assistant managers, okay? So you're saying Lisa will be the finance director. Where's going to be her assistant? Are you going to have an open position for that?
We won't backfill that.
My personal opinion is, I think Mr. Warren does a good job as assistant city manager.
He does a
In the
very good
past,
job.
we always had one assistant city manager. I just think that, I don't think we need to. I think we're gonna be top heavy. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, when the finance director became assistant city manager, when the downtown director became assistant city manager, of course, there was an increase there. So, they
Well,
were
you're looking
given
at another
additional.
$150,000 that could be spread around, in my opinion, in other areas. But, I'm looking at it from more of a business standpoint. I just don't see it.
I want to ask what the recreation program coordinator. What does that person want to do that is not currently being done at Parks and Rec? And who, is that going to be a new position, or is it, there's somebody already there that will give the
It's
title?
proposed to be a new position. I would ask Brian to maybe fill in the gaps.
Would that be Mike Courtney's old position? Is that what we're doing, bringing that back?
Actually, the recreation program coordinator was what Tanya originally started at, and she worked with all the rec centers on their programming needs and activities, and that was her responsibility to coordinate all of the rec centers, their programming, working with the communities and their needs. This is bringing that position back.
All right, so what is Tanya going to do? What is she going, is her title going to change?
She, well,
What happened?
According to this structure that's on this page, she would be downtown Parks and Rec director. Is my understanding.
So she's taking your job.
You know, she's taking,
Okay.
She can have
and I want to ask about one other position. The HVAC specialist, what department is that going to be tied to?
That's in Parks and Rec.
Which we did.
Currently, we contract with Henson Mechanical for all of our planned maintenance on all of the HVAC units. We figured that we could probably take care of that in-house, cheaper, you know, saving the cost of that contract and possibly some repair costs. That was kind of highlighted in the staffing challenges, I think, in that presentation. So there is some savings to that. There's some recovery for that position's cost.
How much do we spend, you know, with them?
Planned maintenance is about 30, 35, 34, somewhere's in that range, in that area.
About $30,000 to $40,000 a year.
35,000, I'd say.